5 years ago, 12 guys got the idea to make a dynasty fantasy football league. In those 5 years, there's been ups and downs, players getting kicked out, people leaving, dumb trades all around. But we made it this far, and we thought, hey, we're having fun with this, let's share the fun with other people, maybe make something out of this. We'll start off with the setup of the league. This is a standard 12-man league with PPR scoring. Teams are broken up into 2 divisions, spit and swallow. Yes, we're very mature. Let's just get right into meeting the teams, starting with the champion. Also, before we begin, down below in the bio, every team has a Twitter account which you can follow if you want to keep up with your favorite team and not have to wait for me to make videos and talk about them. The champion no one saw even making the playoffs last year is the first team we'll meet. Owned by Ethan, the Gladiators became the second team with the replacement owner to win the Sock League championship. Title defenses are hard, but they also had a considerable amount of picks in this year's draft. Chris Olave, Alec Pierce, and Jahan Dotson join a lineup that already has Nick Chubb, Jamar Chase, Javonte Williams, and Aaron Rodgers. Not to mention Travis Etienne coming off an injury and Pittman and Lazard poised to be their team's #1 receiver. They may be a problem not only for their division rivals, but also for the rest of the league. It will be a fun story to watch this year. We just discussed the champions, so we might as well discuss the runner-up and the rest of their division. The Minutemen were so close to glory last year, looking to run it back this year. It's one of the more deeper teams in the league. Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs, Cooper Kupp, Tyler Lockett, T. Higgins, and James Conner make up a very solid core of players. But the bench also has some solid plug-and-play guys like Sony Michel, Sammy Watkins, and Jarvis Landry. They didn't have many valuable draft picks this year, but this team is young and looking to finish what they started last year. Also, they might have a new rivalry in the form of our newest member, who we'll talk about next. After former owner Nate retired last year amidst a year where they quote-unquote won the toilet bowl, a new owner was appointed as Steve, and he came in swinging for the fences, immediately trading for Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Mike Evans, but most importantly, Tyler Higbee, to go along with Aaron Jones and Kyler Murray, giving this team a full 180. D-Hop coming back week 7 will give this team an added boost, but like the previous owner, the biggest question is the bench depth. There are a few decent pieces on the bench like Corey Davis and Kenyon Drake, but outside of that, not much. Definitely something to be monitoring as the season goes on. Formerly known as Me and Mahomes, owner James brings in a much different squad than he has in years past. After shedding a good majority of the old core such as Henry, Evans, Mike Williams, Allen Robinson, this may be a retooling year for the squad that was once known for their hot starts and high-scoring games. By no means the worst team in the league. In fact, another very deep team with guys like Kadarius Toney, Rashard Penny, and Cedric Wilson on the bench, giving this team a sleeper vibe. They just have to topple some of the bigger teams in their division that look better on paper. Next up, we have the Commissioners team. I'm going to try and not say anything too bad because I don't want to be kicked out and I like it here. Adam's team is coming off a few years where his team spent more time in the hospital than the win column. But he's back with another young and solid-looking team. DJ Moore, Saquon Barkley, DeAndre Swift, and George Kittle make up the main core, with Treylon Burks, Brian Robinson, and Wan'Dale Robinson being added by way of the draft. Off the bench, DJ Chark, James Washington, and Dawson Knox make great guys to come in if they have to. This team knows what it takes to be a champion. This division will be a dogfight down the stretch. Rounding off the Swallow division is the Bison, a team in the midst of a deep rebuild and lots of questions about the future. Stafford and Amon-Ra were pretty good last year, and KJ Osborne had his weeks, but a lot of this core are rookies like James Cook, Isaiah Spiller, and David Bell. The bench isn't much better, with the notable guys being Trey Sermon, Isaiah McKenzie, and DeErnest Johnson. The only saving grace for this team is that James Robinson may be looking at an early return from an injury once thought to keep him out for the majority of the season. And you also have 425 Tim Pack. I don't think this team will make a lot of noise this year, but stranger things have happened.
Good times, good times.
Moving on to the Spit division, we will start at the top once more, with a team led by John Cherry. The Steamrollers were by far the best team last year, with one of the most star-studded rosters, including guys like Alvin Kamara, Tyreek Hill, Deebo Samuel, Travis Kelce, and Hollywood Brown. This team looked more dangerous than ever before. Adding in Sky Moore from the draft gives the bench an added boost coming into the year. Last year, a combination of injuries and bad luck led to an early playoff exit, but I see this team getting right back into the fray of championship talks. Don't get too confident though. Plenty of these next few teams are looking to loosen their stranglehold in the Spit division. With the pride of 4 banners, Trevor once again looks to do the one thing he has yet to do, and that's win a Sock League championship. Historically the most consistent team in the league, he brings in Lamar Jackson, Jonathan Taylor, Joe Mixon, A.J. Brown, and Darren Waller, while adding DK Metcalf and Amari Cooper via trades this offseason. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Brendan Ayuk, Nico Collins, and Neiman Hines round out a sturdy bench. I think if any team has the opportunity to surpass Cherry, it's most certainly this one. The regular season's never been a problem for this team. Can they get it done later in the year, though? We'll have to find out. It's funny to look back to where teams came from. A few years ago, Zach brought in what is probably the worst lineup in league history, but it seems like those days are well in the past. Nowadays, Zach comes off his first playoff appearance. Though short, it shows the growth this team has made over the last 4 years. Joe Burrow, Christian McCaffrey, and Devontae Adams are enough to fuel this argument, but throw in young guys like Kyle Pitts, Najee Harris, Elijah Moore, and CeeDee Lamb, and this team looks primed for another playoff stint that hopefully lasts longer. Christian McCaffrey's health is the main concern for this season, but I think they have enough firepower to be fine without him. Most people count this team out, but I can definitely see the squad that Evan brings in being another sleeper team. True, he has yet to make the playoffs, but a slip up from the teams above him could be an opportunity I doubt he passes up. He traded David Montgomery away, but brought in Miles Sanders, Mike Williams, and Jerry Jeudy to go along with Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, Ezekiel Elliott, and Justin Herbert. The bench is a little scary, but guys like Melvin Gordon, Jalen Reagor, Devin Duvernay, and Christian Kirk can fill in when needed. Monitor their start to the year because these guys could be potential buyers come the trade deadline. 4 years ago, the Devil Rays won the very first Sock League championship. Today they try and recapture that glory with a squad that may not be as star-studded as others, but very well-rounded. Josh Allen has not only been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but also one of the best fantasy quarterbacks. Darnell Mooney is taking over as the Bears wide receiver 1, and should get a nice uptick in production. Jay Jetta, well, he's Jay Jetta, so he's probably going to be good. Rounding up the squad, stars is tight end Mark Andrews, one of the best red zone targets in the league. The biggest question is the RB core and depth behind them. Antonio Gibson is good when healthy, and Tony Pollard will probably see an expanded role this year, but the hole fillers behind them are either rookies needing to earn their spot or guys buried deep in depth charts. Something to definitely monitor as the season plays out. Last and potentially least is my team, the War Eagles. Another team in a deep rebuild. It's hard to find a team that these guys can beat. The roster isn't terrible with guys like Jalen Hurts, Gabe Davis, and Ramondre Stevenson, but it's definitely by far the worst in the Spit division. Having a big draft class with names like Breece Hall, Ken Walker, and Christian Watson could definitely make an impact, but it will probably take some time for them to get going. A late offseason trade for David Montgomery also solidifies the RB room, but the wide receiver core does not look great at all. Outside of Gabe Davis, there isn't really anyone notable. This does hurt to say since, I'm the owner, but I think this team loses a lot more than they win this year, barring some unprecedented miracles or some big moves. So, some trades happened while this video wasn't editing, and I think that I should go over them since the roster pictures that I use reflect those trades. So, the first big one is Griffin got some running back depth, which I talked about was a big need for him, trading Rashard Bateman for Cam Akers and Elijah Mitchell. Trevor, or wide receiver U, traded Amari Cooper for Christian Kirk in a second. The second belongs to Matt, so you can only assume it's probably going to be 13 or 14. And then Cherry made some big trades. So from the Steamrollers goes Tyreek Hill, a third and a second, in exchange for T. Higgins, a second and a first, to the Minutemen or Jasmus. He then traded Travis Kelce to the Cranberries for Michael Gallup, a first and a second. And lastly, just to fix the tight end spot, he traded a second to the War Eagles for tight end Gerald Everett. So yeah, that all happened while I was editing this. Thank you guys for watching.